Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of model for you some requirements for annotating that we'll use here in chemistry for all articles. So there's 4 requirements. The first one is you're going to number all chunks, and I will always give that to you, okay? We'll wait for my announcement here. So you're going to number all chunks, but I'll give that to you. The second thing you're going to do is highlight the first word of each paragraph. The third thing you're going to do is, as you read, you're going to circle, highlight, or underline at least 2 examples of the below categories. So the 4 categories you can choose from is clarify, okay? And the minimum, I forgot to put this on here, the minimum is 2 categories in each chunk, okay? So 2 categories in each chunk. So you can choose clarify, which you're going to put 2 exclamation marks, and you're going to box any unknown vocabulary. Look up the definition and write the definition on your paper in the margin if there's room. Text connections, you'll write an arrow where you'll write your connection on the paper. Questions, you're going to do a question mark. You're going to write your question on paper and then in the margin or if there's room. And then commentary, you'll put a star where you'll write your notation on the paper in the margin if there is room. After you finish that, then you're going to write a 3-sentence summary of the entire article. Some things you can include. You can include explain author's purpose and main message of the article, important definitions or connections you had, and make sure that you're writing in complete sentences. So we're going to start off with our number 1. We're going to chunk the article that I'm going to model for you. And so this is the article that we would read this week. And so I would give this to you at the beginning of class, and I'm just going to draw a line. This is how we would distinct between the 2 chunks. So this is number 1 on the top here, and this is going to be number 2. And then our second step, and remember these requirements, I do include the PowerPoint that has all these requirements on Classroom. It'll stay at the top of our classwork page. Is we're going to highlight the first word of every paragraph. So I'm going to highlight here the first word of every paragraph. Okay, so we know where our paragraphs are. Okay, so we've done that. Great. And then our third step is we're going to circle, highlight, or underline at least 2 examples of those 4 categories in each chunk. So we needed 2 for chunk number 1 and 2 for number 2. So I'm going to read this a little bit, and I'm going to do 2 of these up in here for you guys, and then you'll be left to finish it off. It says, how much do you weigh? What is your height? How many tiles will cover your kitchen floor? How much milk should be added to a cake mix? What is the temperature outside? All these questions are answered by measurements. Measuring is an important part of daily life. People use measurements all the time for shopping, cooking, construction, and deciding how warm to dress. Measuring also is an important part of science. A measurement has 2 parts, a number and a unit. So I'm not really sure what this word unit means. So I'm going to go ahead and underline it. You could highlight it or circle it. And I'm not sure what that means. So I'm going to put that as a clarify. So I'm going to put 2 exclamation points over the top. And there's no room in the margins here, so I'm going to flip my paper over. Okay. And I'm going to write 2 exclamation points, and I'm going to say unit. So this is where I'm going to write my definition or clarification. Now, if you're in class, you can go ahead and grab a computer and look this up, or you can also ask me. So I'm going to go ahead and define this for you. So a unit is what you are measuring, okay, in. So some examples that we would use here in chemistry, and you'll read about them, is grams, is a G. We could be measuring in milliliters, okay, which is lowercase m, big L. We could be measuring in meters, and etc. Okay, and that's how you would do that one. Let's go back to our article because this is our first chunk, so we need one more for that chunk. And this is the minimum. So if you want to do more than 2, perfectly fine. It says the number is determined by the markings on the measurement instrument. It is read by reading all the markings possible plus estimating another digit. Okay, so here in class we were talking about when we estimate, we usually only estimate one number, and that's to keep the numbers that we get off reading an instrument here in chemistry much more precise and accurate. So we don't get a big difference in numbers. We always include the numbers that we know, and then we usually estimate that last digit. Okay, so in class here, I made that as a connection because we had a discussion here in class. And if you weren't in class and you're not sure what I'm talking about, please come talk to me. So we're going to go ahead and put that connection in. So then I'm going to write, here's my connection, and it says we estimate only one number. Because if we estimated more numbers, then all of our measurements would be all very, very different. Okay, so measurements are more accurate and precise. So an example of this that I used here in class was I showed them my graduated cylinder. And I said, okay, here's my pink line, okay? And my pink line is going to be where my meniscus is. You'll be reading about that in just a minute, okay, when you read the article. But our meniscus is right here between, okay, 45, above 45, so I know it's at least 45. And if we look at the scale, we notice, okay, that these go up by 1. So here's 45, and they go up by 1 because this top line up here was 50. And notice the instrument also tells me milliliters, so I know I'm in milliliters. Okay, so 45, and each one is 1, so that's 46. So it's above 46, so I know those two numbers, 46, 4 and the 6. I know those. Now I'm going to estimate what it is between here. So this would be my 10th number. So it'd be 46, and I would probably call this one 0.8. And some people may call it 0.7. Some people may call it 0.9. So that last number is our estimated number. Okay. All right. So that's it. So you would read through the rest of this chunk and see if there's any more notation. So I'm going to go ahead and read. For example, if a ruler shows the length of this crayon to be 7.7 centimeters, so this crayon over here, but not quite to the next marker of 7.8, then the last digit is what we call estimated. Here it is known to be 7.7 centimeters, we know those numbers, and has an estimation of additional 0.05. Therefore, the measurement number is 7.75. A unit is a standard amount used to measure something. In this case, it is centimeters, with the overall measurement being 7.75 centimeters. Below are the most common measurements here, and that really means in chemistry, okay? And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to underline this one, and I'm going to make a comment about this one, actually. Okay, and I'm just going to make a comment, okay? A measurement is a number and units, okay? So I'm pretty big on this. You have to put number and units whenever you give me a measurement. All right, so your job now is to finish reading the second chunk of your reading. You're going to at least add 2 more of these categories in chunk 2. When you are done, and you'll do the same thing just as I did, when you're done, you're going to write a 3-sentence summary. So just on the back here, you're going to write a summary. And you're going to write, okay, 3 sentences, and they have to be in complete sentences. When you are done with this, once you've read this and annotated it, then you can go ahead and move on to your review. Okay, so your review is taking your reading and completing this. You're going to write the definition of each of these measurements, the units that they are, and the lab equipment that you could use. Remember, in your notebook is the pictures of the lab equipment and what their names are. These next 8 are all